Yeah, it says on air on my screen too now. No, I'm saying it just showed up on my. No. There's nothing on YouTube. I'm sorry. It just says on air now, like a red on air icon on the screen where I'm looking at you. That's weird. To say, should we go to the old standby of hanging up and calling again? Oh. Okay, yeah, now there's a new... Okay, yeah, now there's a new stream. Hi. Huh.
My microphone was off the entire time, which is super awesome.
Ooh.
So that lets you know exactly how tonight's going to go. There's nobody here because everybody's probably waiting in the other chat. Let's see if I can go in there and notify the people that we are over here.
I'm also, I don't know if anybody can hear me. Hey, everybody. It's your buddy's pal, Anthony, and Aaron is being too hard on himself because
I haven't done this in a while, okay?
I was going to say, it's been a minute. It's been a pretty minute. Hang on. New link. Come on over. Sending that in the old chat. And I will put this on the interwebs as well.
Yeah. Since I done goofed it all up somehow.
No, again, you haven't done this in a minute, and there's always a damn issue. So
I was nervous.
This is just keeping with the theme of HeyArcher Live. But I've put it on YouTube, or excuse me, I put something on Instagram. It's on YouTube in the old chat, and Here we are. So I guess
it'll either work or it won't.
Yeah, let's see. It's just you and me for a minute. I guess we'll give everybody a minute.
Yeah, it'll probably take a few minutes. Everybody got tired of waiting for Steve.
Yeah.
They're like, he's not coming. We might as well just go ahead and start doing whatever.
Yeah. But, hey, that's okay. We're here. We're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
God, it's good to see you. It's been a minute.
I know.
Since you've done, since you've done one of these, real life getting in the way.
Been meaning to for the longest time, and for whatever reason, it's just been, I don't know. And funny enough, I was actually going to join Steve this week until I found out, hey, he's not doing it this week. And Aaron, you're doing it, so.
Yeah. And thank you for doing it, because I was going to do it, but then he's like, hey, it's better if somebody's on screen, not just the logo. And then I was like, ooh, yeah. So.
Yeah, so we're trying to run this from a very janky sort of setup. We don't have Steve's fancy eCam or any of that good old stuff there. So we're just kind of winging it by the seat of our pants.
However, I do see that there's 4 people in the chat. Oh. One of them is probably me. Know Your Craft, how you doing? All right.
Yeah, we're going to make it work. I'm just now figuring out that this is going to be wrong in my chat that I had set up. I'll figure that out some way, somehow. Oh, on stream. Not that one. Nope,
but it's like I really want to start talking, but I don't want to say anything, and then what's whoops?
I'm just trying to click stuff, and then I clicked the wrong thing. So good old fashioned rigmarole, I suppose.
It's okay.
Oh, it's in the other one. That's why I can't figure it out. Okay, well, I'll figure that later. So yeah, so I guess while I'm on and we're on, since it's been a minute, I've missed a lot in terms of talking about things or not talking about things. So let's see, where should we start? Do you want to start Star Wars? Do you want to start?
I was gonna say,
Deadpool?
do you want to like? I was gonna say, since it's your choice. Do you want to get your blood boiling and then get the rage out and then segue into something that I'm assuming you're gonna love talking about, which is Deadpool, or do you want to start this all nice and then in another 15, 20 minutes into the chat, just break out the F-bombs?
Well, the F-bombs can start flying at any time. That I'm perfectly fine with. So I would probably say let's start with old news first and then work our way to more current. So I would probably say, let's start with the Acolyte. I think you and Steve already made a video on that. No? Or you guys chatted about it?
Talked about it, and then we were gonna just kind of full on rage against the show in something in like a longer video, but we haven't gotten around to it because some people around here like to take 2-week honeymoons because they're happily newlyweds. I mean, I don't know what that's about.
Whatever.
But
get over yourself. We've got live streams to put on. People entertain.
Seriously, unboxings, live streams. And well, I mean, and he's like the posts. He's like, oh, hey, I accidentally went to the place where they filmed The Acolyte, and I'm sure his wife was just like, I fucking hate you. I hate you so much. Accidentally. Okay. Yeah. He probably also accidentally ended up where they filmed the Tatooine scenes, but whatever.
Never know.
Yeah. But yeah, Acolyte. Let's tear into this thing a little bit here.
I don't know if I've ever been so frustrated by Star Wars. I mean, I know that there's been a lot of frustration, like with the sequel trilogy and like a bunch of other stuff. And anytime anything new Star Wars tends to come out, it always has this same issue. But I feel like this was the most egregious. And I think Steve posed it in the chat, but I don't remember if we ever talked about it. But the question was posed, was this worse than Book of Boba Fett? Oh. And I would say it was, only because Book of Boba Fett was really bad, but it messed with a legacy character. This one messed with an entire lore of the franchise, which I felt like was more egregious in terms of like what was worse, as an overall like sin to humanity, I suppose.
Wow, a sin to humanity. That's
okay. Maybe
that's
not sin
up
to
there.
humanity.
No,
but
I mean
this is definitely ranked amongst between this and Titans as like the bane of my existence.
Yeah, Titans. Thank God I forgot about that show until recently. No, I'll go with you on that because, obviously Boba Fett messed up a legacy character, and that's awful. But now this is just completely shitting on stuff that George Lucas set up and things like that. And it's one thing to, I guess it's one thing to disrespect his characters by giving them interpretations people are less than thrilled with. And, Boba Fett, Luke in the sequel trilogy. But now you're just completely saying that everything he did, it's not actually original technically because of the timeline. Obviously the idea is the original, but now, I can do this better that's all this show came up to in my head. It's one person saying I can do it better. Right? Yeah. And I
don't really know what the whole thought process behind, the Acolyte was. Like I think Steve brought this up, is that when you listen to was she the showrunner, the director, Leslie Headland, whatever? I don't even know what her job was. Like, I don't know if it was...
She was like the showrunner, maybe. I don't know if she directed an episode. I can check. Okay. But she was at least the showrunner. Okay.
So, regardless, when you hear her talk in interviews, like, it's like, okay, I can kind of get behind what she's talking about. But once you see it in action, I don't know if it was just a miscommunication. I don't know if it was somebody dropped the ball, but I feel like everyone dropped the ball at the same time because, how could you fumble the bag so hard? So it's kind of hard to say whose fault it is because she sounds like she had the right idea, but execution and everything else was bad. But when she promotes it, I don't know if it's one of those like, oh, I'm on press tour right now, so I'm going to say all these positive things. 5 years down the line, we'll be like, yeah, I absolutely hated the project. I hated being there every day. Director was such an asshole. Whatever those things are. Basically, like what I consider like the Transformers formula, where they're like, oh yeah, I love working on this film. It was so great. And then Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox were like, Michael Bay sucks. He made me like run around with all these explosions. It was super dangerous. One of those situations. I feel like that could be down the road, but we are just going to have to wait and find out if that's really what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it was bad. I did not enjoy it. And what sucks, I think even worse, is that I immediately got that bad taste in my mouth from the first episode. Whoops, sorry if I bumped my microphone. From the first episode, I was immediately questioning, what the hell is happening? What is all this? And then it just never got better. There were like some, I don't even want to call it redeeming, but little flashes of light of where you could say, okay, there's something that they had a cool idea, and at least they kind of executed on it, but then it would be gone so quickly that it almost didn't even matter anymore. It was such a flash in the pan sort of moment or nod or, phrase even, that sometimes it would just work, but it was just bad all around. I hated it.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we can agree the flash in the pan moment where like the fights, because the fights were pretty good, I thought.
Anything related to fight choreography, and I would even say the stranger himself, or I don't even remember what his name is at this point.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Smilo Ren, like even with all like the memes related to him, he was still the best character out of everything that was happening. And then when he fought also, like it added more emphasis and interesting things, like with the helmet of what that was made out of and the lightsabers sparking, all good ideas in theory. And then some good stuff, especially centered around the action, were good. And then they would open their mouths and like have to have a moment together. And they just completely shit the bed at that.
Yeah, no, that was terrible. And like, I mean, by the way, Leslie Headland on StarWars.com, the first article I found, it says she's showrunner and creator. So yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. So
regardless, it's her fault.
Yeah, it's her fault.
Want to slice it. At least if she was like, oh, I wasn't a part of this part. Well, you kind of were. So
yeah, like, oh, it was my idea, but I had no say in the show actually getting made. It's like, no, you can't say that. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, anytime. I keep saying in the chat, and I know I've said it on streams before, I thought it was supposed to be set further back. I didn't realize it was only 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
I thought it was at least 1,000, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's only 100. I'm like, well, you're not really taking us out of, I mean, technically in an era standpoint maybe, of like what we know of Star Wars, but like go further. Like there's no point in keeping it so close. The only reason was to keep the legacy characters or involve legacy characters. That was it. Otherwise, it has no real purpose or reason why these characters are even around.
Yeah, like now realizing the timeline, and obviously, folks, the show's been out for a while, so spoilers from here on. But I mean, you show us Darth Plagueis. It's like, oh, okay. So that means Palpatine is 40 years away from being born. What are we talking about here? And then like after seeing the show, it's like gets me worried. It's like, oh my God, are they going to try to show him become like Palpatine becoming? Is this going to turn into like Palpatine and Plagueis? The show? Is it like my own worries anyway? It's like, what are they going to mess up now? Because just including the back shot of Yoda's head, you've messed Yoda's lore up. I mean, obviously that what you said before, but his lore is completely messed up too. Does he buy I don't remember her character's name. Does he buy the Green Whip Jedi's line of bullshit that she sold to the senators? Does he not? And
I think complicit? It comes back also to piggyback on that, even goes further ahead of that with the whole Kiadi-Mundi thing. Like people were making, they're like, oh, they're, Star Wars people are up in arms because of a birthday. And it doesn't really, like the birthday is like the furthest thing from it. to me. Like, if you wanted to include him, okay, fine. Rewrite the species sort of existence or what's the word I'm looking for? Lifespan, anything like that. That's fine. I can live with that. But then, like, being made aware of some of these things and then having the evidence since 1999 saying they haven't been around for 1,000 years. And then also involving Yoda at the end now doubles down the fact that everybody knew about all this stuff, but they were just covering it up. So I get their idea again of wanting to make the Jedi, who've always been this very positive thing, kind of not necessarily put a stain on their reputation, but show that they're not always good. Get that, love it. You know, we should have some of that. But I don't think that the way that it was executed was the best. So it definitely suffered a lot.
Yeah, no, it suffered terribly. And like, I also missed the piece of news where this was supposed to be from the bad guy's point of view, because they kept centering it around the Jedi. So I was like, oh, okay, that didn't work. But yeah, like, I mean, I've said it in the chat. Go back 500 years, go back 1,000 years, just do a straight up Jedi versus Sith war show. Yeah. And let's see that. Like, and you know, the more after watching this show and everything, like, we've never seen the Jedi the way Luke learned about them, you know, if that makes sense. We've seen like the broken Jedi. We've seen for a quick second we have like, oh, Qui-Gon Jinn, but then nobody believes him. They're all too arrogant to believe him, everything else. And then the Clone Wars, and then they fall in revenge. We've never seen them like, you know, being the Jedi, like the light of the universe. I don't think. We've heard about it. We've seen glimpses here and there, but this fucking show, man. It hurts. It just hurts.
It really did. And I felt like, I don't know what was going on in my life at the time, but like right as it was getting started to The Acolyte, like for some reason I was just like in my absolute Star Wars era. And then this show immediately killed that. Like I felt like I was like really like on the Star Wars bandwagon, like learning about it more than ever. And, you know, anything related to Star Wars I was trying to consume. And then they completely... One second. It's okay. One second. We've got a visitor. I apologize.
No, all good. Aaron is balancing his duties as special guest host and proud father at the moment.
Yeah, so... Anthony, you might have to take over the call here for a second. Or
I got you.
The live stream. I will be right back. I apologize.
Nope, all good. You go deal with that. I guess we're just going to bitch about The Acolyte for a moment here. Oh, and look at that shirt. I just saw it on the replay. Sorry, folks. Anyway, yeah, The Acolyte. Just, I mean, help me out in the chat here, because there's so many things I just want to rage about. Just like Daphne Keane. She was great. She was like the only one who had a fucking clue what was going on in that show. So naturally she had to die. They all had to die. That was another thing that like the creator Leslie Headland spoiled. I saw some interview and I just started watching like bits and pieces of it. And then in one episode before the finale, in this interview, she'd said something to the fact like, well, yeah, anybody who encounters the stranger or Smiley, whatever the hell his name is, they all die because, you know, nobody can know that the Sith are back or that there's a dark side user or this or that. And it's like, what the hell? You said that before your show's even over? Like, and for a minute there, I'm like, maybe it's going to be a misdirect or something. But nope, sure enough, anybody who didn't turn to the dark side or get their mind wiped has died. Except for the green one with the whip lightsaber because she sensed him. So she didn't die, but I don't know. I don't know what the hell they were doing. And as I've said before, it just leads us we're just right back in the era of shitty Jedi playing politics. And we're right back with, you know, they're playing with the Senate. One is too involved in the other, and there's no separation of Jedi and state. So I just really don't know. Oh, he's coming back. So.
All right, let's try that again. Apologies.
Hey, all good. I was just bitching about the lack of separation between Jedi and state. I had you in
the whole time, so I was making sure that I was in the conversation. But you just didn't have to hear a kid. So.
All good. But yeah, like that's just. I want to see great Jedi. Like that's it. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Obi-Wan, great. Qui-Gon Jinn, great. Yoda, great. But like, on the whole, the Jedi Order. Let's like they're so like I didn't need to see the one guy steaming his robe and being ripped. Like, what the hell was the point of that whole scene? Like that scene made no sense. And he's so proud of the fact that he got promoted. Like, I get it. You're going to be proud you finally made Jedi Knight and everything else, but like, you're immediately a cocky prick. Like,
yeah, and I'm fine with them having a diverse group of people being Jedi. That's fine. But you didn't need the whole, not only shirtless, because we already saw that in Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker or Last Jedi?
Last Jedi. We had a shirtless Kylo.
Mm-hmm. So we had shirtless Kylo then. Everybody, that got memed to death. If you didn't learn your lesson from that. But then for some reason, like the steaming the robes, like I felt like if they would have gone one direction or the other, it would have been okay. And just been like, oh, he's got that, sort of arrogant cockiness to him. But I feel like combining the two and making him an insufferable character was just like the cherry on top of like the shit pile, basically.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, Daphne Keane was fantastic. I almost wish there would have been more of her.
Bring her back in something else. Just obviously not this character, but
go back further.
she was buried in makeup. Who gives a shit? Like, just
bring her back as something else. Give her the old. Well, I guess it doesn't really happen in Star Wars, but I guess a Padme and her assistant double person. That's not exactly the same situation.
Doppelgangers.
But just do a quick swap and then we'll call it a day. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or hell, make her. I mean, there's twins in Star Wars, as the show loves to point out. Mm-hmm. She can have a twin. I don't care. Okay, cool. Go. She's a twin with the exact same mannerisms. Fine. Yep. Okay. You realize that you screwed up. Bring her back in season 2.
What was her name in the show? Like Jackie or something like that. So we can call it. I almost want to say Becky, but that's too white for Star Wars. Human. It's too basic.
Yeah.
Klecky. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Well, it'll be Jackie with a Y instead of with an I or something. I'm fine with that. God. Yeah. All right. Well, that's enough of that steaming pile. Let's talk about something good, something positive.
Well, actually, hang on. Since we're doing this, I do have something else. All right. So, just in the final episode, the whole bleeding of the crystal thing.
Oh yes, I forgot to touch on that.
No, it's all good. We're going to touch it to death right now. I've been reading Star Wars comics lately.
Not on live stream.
Well, not on a live stream on this site, but the other site. But so in the comics, and by the way, if I've been blowing through, like I caught up on all the Vader comics that were set right after Revenge of the Sith, and I'm almost caught up on all the Star Wars and Darth Vader comics. There's 2 series. There's a Star Wars and a Darth Vader that happens between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And then there's another Star Wars and Darth Vader that happens after Empire, leading into Return of the Jedi. So right now I'm on the one between episodes 4 and 5, and just holy shit, everything is just like the stuff that Vader does, badass. He's murdering people left and right. He's a ball of rage. It's amazing. Stuff the rebels are doing. Oh my God, they're actually, you see the fight against the Empire. You see a little bit more than Luke, Leia, and Han and Chewie, which is cool. So there is good stuff happening in Star Wars. It's just unfortunately it's not on film. But to compare the two, when and it is Osha, when Osha bleeds the crystal, she's touching it because it is like somehow it jutted up through the hilt of Soul's lightsaber. But when Anakin had to do it, and like, okay, I can argue that they're both created by the Force and this and that, but she was supposed to be one person that they split into 2. So shouldn't her power have been less? Anakin, yes, he was less because he was in the Vader suit and he lost his limbs and shit. But still, he tries to make his crystal bleed. His crystal fights back against him, gives him a vision of him like basically his crystal knocks some sense into him. And in a vision, he was like, holy shit, what did I do? And he goes to confront Palpatine. Palpatine wants to see his saber, and he ignites it, and it's still the green color. And him and Palpatine fight, and he actually kills Palpatine. And it's not until at the end of the vision that a vision of Obi-Wan calls him Anakin that he freaks out, gets super pissed, and then really makes his crystal bleed. So like there's this whole process in it. Versus the Acolyte, where she's holding it on and she's pissed. I get why she'd be pissed, but the crystal doesn't fight back, or there's none of the. I'm not saying they had to have a vision like they did in the comic, but nothing happens. You're just saying she's so powerful and she's so mad that overpowered the crystal, and it's just like that just doesn't make sense because again, she was supposed to be one person. She split into two, and she just started using the Force again. You know, this is a guy who's been through the Clone Wars and everything else, and you know the crystal almost like if the crystal just said just didn't do anything else, maybe it would have turned him back, but it's just I don't know. They're just bastardizing everything
And I feel like there was such a golden opportunity to better explain something in, I hate to say it on the big screen because that's not technical, or on, I guess, in live action, because they've talked about lightsaber stuff on Clone Wars before. But I feel like that was such an area of sort of need, or could have been easily expanded upon, that they once again completely ruined it by making it way simpler than it needed to be. Like, oh, I got really angry, so, and things weren't really going my way, so I was able to turn essentially to the dark side and, bleed this crystal. Although I don't think that's the term that they used. I guess turning it would be different. But, I mean, even when you explain the differences between, or go back to other things as well, not only in the comics, but if you want to reference other materials, also there's kind of that more infamous interview with Sam Witwer where he talks about Starkiller, where his sort of audition was like him like white knuckling, like using the Force, although it wasn't him necessarily bleeding the crystal or anything like that, but like giving like a better visual sense of trying to force something and like turn, and like the effort that it takes, rather than just being like, oh, I was happened to be holding a lightsaber, I was really upset, and it just decided to totally flip. That was a little too easy. And then like the moment before that, when they threw the lightsaber and it broke, I'm like, I don't think they break that easily, right? Like it seems a little bit fragile. Like my phone is they kind of made it like a cell phone almost. Like it seems a little too fragile. Luke,
exactly.
who put it weird together with like bubble gum and duct tape for the most part, or even Anakin, they seem to have a lot more staying power. Sliding across floors and being thrown off a cloud city, or what have you.
Yeah, that was, and I mentioned this with Steve, but like the thickness of it, like they seem like really clunky versus the sleek models we're used to. So, and that would
that was fine if it was 1,000 years versus 100 years. I mean, I guess you could really make the argument of cell phones 100 years ago obviously didn't exist, and I feel like that's the only analogy, because I feel like that's how they kind of visualized it. Like the technology must have had made extreme leaps and bounds for something that's so old within 100 years, as opposed to the past 1,000 that you could have gone back to. You could have made them much more clunkier with a further time period, in my opinion, as opposed to what they went with. But the lightsabers were definitely a hard sell. The whole story with Soul being a creeper was a hard sell. It was a hard sell in any direction you sliced it, unfortunately. Except for the action. That was the only redeeming thing for me.
Yeah. So. But anyway,
now I'm really done with this show. Which I think at the end of the month is Outlaws, which that isn't really getting a whole lot of good news that I've heard. So who knows when Star Wars is going to pick up or get me excited again, but it's not looking like for a while, unfortunately. So.
What's Outlaws? You mean Skeleton Crew?
No, Skeleton Crew's a show. Sorry, I forgot that comes out in December. Skeleton Crew comes out in December, so I forgot about that. Outlaws is a game where you're going to be playing kind of like the smuggler role as opposed to like a Jedi role with the Jedi Survivor. direction, I suppose is the best way to
Okay.
put it. So that comes out at the end of August, I believe. And then I forgot, like you mentioned, Skeleton Crew. I think that's one of those world famous Christmas Day or one of those premieres,
Yeah,
like really late in the year.
I gotcha.
So
Okay, so
see
we'll have
about
to
that.
we'll have to break Sal out of the box for the video game because that's why I had no clue about it because
Yeah,
video games are definitely outside of my wheelhouse.
it's been on my radar, but a lot of people have not been giving it the best reception, even on like demo stuff. So we'll see
Really?
how it actually plays out. I tend to be a waiter on video games unless it's something that has me extremely excited. So we'll see how that plays out. But that's Star Wars. Chapter
Yes,
closed.
indeed. Moving
Let's
on.
move on to something else. Let's talk about superhero stuff. Let's talk about something
Woohoo!
fun and exciting. And what I thought was probably definitely top of the Marvel movies, I would say ever. I wouldn't say, I don't know how high I would put it. We're not going to go too deep into it. But Deadpool and Wolverine, I
Yes.
saw it. I loved it. I think we all saw it, have seen it at this point. Our group. I don't want to speak for the world. But absolutely fantastic. I loved it. There were some definitely things that I want to say took issue with, but there were things that I definitely felt weren't quite the right vibe, but I had overlooked it just from the sheer joy that I had for the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a perfect movie, but at the same time, it is for what it was. Like it's when you nitpick it. Like I saw it twice, and after the second time, I started to nitpick a little bit, but after that first viewing, I just walked out. It's just like that was a summer superhero popcorn movie.
Yep.
I was happy. I was happy watching it. I was excited at certain points. I laughed at certain points. I was good with it. So that was yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
And
There's so many good things. Like, and I continue to look at those things online that they leaked. I guess I don't even want to say leaked. I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot on a lot of those things. But let's pick a couple top things. Let's do top things that we liked from the movie.
okay.
How many do you want to do? You want to do like 3, 5?
Let's stick to 3. That's probably
3.
for the best.
Wolverine's got 3 in claws. We'll go ahead and go with 3. So,
Yeah.
so what would
But I'm
be
done.
your number 3 thing?
My number 3 out of all of it is the heroes they meet in the void, because just in general, like I wasn't expecting that. I was just expecting like a couple of cameos, but I wasn't really expecting like kind of a team up. So like for let's call them, I guess we'll call them the Fox Avengers, right? I don't know. For them, for any sort of a team thing to have happened in that, and especially with like those characters, because again, like I would never have, I mean, I knew X-23 was going to be in it because she spoiled that herself before I basically stopped looking at the internet. But I would never have picked the other. I would never have picked Blade and Jennifer Garner Elektra and Channing Tatum as Gambit. I would never have picked them to come out, and fucking Chris Evans as the Human Torch.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know what's funny? I'll piggyback on a couple of those. So that was definitely one of my top things as well. I would probably say it was I'm going to put it at 2 for me, because there were a lot of things that I was not aware of that came up that were not spoiled for me. I was probably the least spoiled going into the movie. The only one that I think I had heard about was Elektra. That was rumored for a long time. That was the one that I was hoping wasn't going to happen, and obviously it did. But like Blade, I had absolutely no idea. Channing Tatum had no idea. As soon as Chris Evans came on, I had a feeling it was Cap, but there was something that was telling me that it wasn't. And that was like the scene just before, like as they were coming up to that desert scene area, there was a Thor helmet and a Captain America shield in the dirt. And I was like, okay, Captain America is going to be here. And then once they showed Chris Evans with a little bit of like the longer hair that's a little bit more up as opposed to like his more coif hair, I suppose, of Captain America. I had a feeling it was going to be Johnny Storm, and they definitely turned that to that direction. Although I do wish he would have talked a little bit more about his world or experience, just sort of in general, because I felt like that was something that could have been a little bit hit on a little bit harder. Like what version of, although it was exciting to see Channing Tatum's Gambit, where is he coming from? Is he just a Gambit? Is he supposed to be maybe from the X-Men universe, or excuse me, the X-Men 97 universe? Something of that sort. I just would have liked to have heard maybe a little bit of that, but I wasn't too overwhelmed with, digging into it because I was having such a great time seeing everybody. But they had the Fantastic car, they had the Red Skull car, which we saw in the trailer, and just a bunch of amazing Easter eggs all throughout that, although they were, very front and center, a lot of people keep making videos about them, which I'm okay, we all know about these Easter eggs now. We don't have to not everybody has to make content on it at the same time. It still gets me excited to see it. And okay, let me ask you this question. Would you consider the Calverine as one of those cameos or other characters that you're talking about right now? Or would that rank it differently?
Well, you kind of broke up a little bit. Would I consider the Calverine?
Yeah, so would you consider the Calverine in sort of that group that you're talking about? Or do you consider them separate because it's the Wolverine character, but it's just a variant of them?
Oh, he's separate because that was going to be he's going to be. I really want to say he's my number one, but no, he's my number two because all those memes have to be redone now because he's the only other variant they showed. I think I said last week when I was talking to Steve, they screwed up by not having different actors play different variants of Wolverine and just having Hugh Jackman do it. But
especially
Danny DeVito should have been.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. I was on the live stream at the time, in the chat. That was definitely one thing that they missed an opportunity with. If they were going to do it once, they should have done it again. And I think you mentioned Daniel Radcliffe. I think he should have been the shorter Wolverine because he's pretty small, right? I think.
I don't know if he's tiny or not, but I mean, just because he's definitely not Hugh Jackman tall, it would have looked it. But actually, I was going to say, this would have been totally out of left field, but bring in Danny DeVito.
He's 5'5". He's only 2 inches taller than what Wolverine's supposed to be.
Oh, okay, so he's closer.
Yeah.
But yeah, give Danny DeVito a CGI body and just make him because there's that meme I've seen on Instagram.
Yeah.
But Calverine is definitely number 2, and I really hope they don't waste it because I got so excited when he popped up on screen.
Yeah. That was probably one of the most exciting things I think I've been in a while. And Cavill's so good with the cameos, it seems like. And he just pops up in places, and I think that's what sometimes makes it more exciting. The Superman we kind of had coming for a little while because it was sort of teased in Shazam, the first one.
Yeah.
At the very end, although it wasn't him. Mm-hmm. And then he came back in Black Adam, which that was the best part of that movie somehow. I keep meaning to rewatch some of the DC movies, and then I remember I'll think about them and be like, I don't really want to. Those were bad. Uh-oh, I have another visitor. Please hold.
Oh, good. So yeah, I think I said last week with Steve, the Calverine was definitely a huge highlight for me in that movie. All the brightening up Deadpool's costume from the dull red leather to just the bright in that was also cool too, and just how they really took all these aspects and kind of marvelized them a little bit because they have the brighter costumes and whatnot, but it still felt very much like Deadpool's suit, obviously, and I think probably one of the better versions of the other 2 movies is this one. And then obviously we can't say enough about Wolverine's suit, the brown one that we saw in the quick one where he's about to fight the Hulk. Somebody else did a comparison, and that I guess it was kind of brown and gold in the deleted scene from The Wolverine, where he gets the suit at the end from, I can't remember her name, Maiko, I think, Mariko. So somebody was saying, oh, maybe it's like, isn't that Let Us Down? Or at least in the picture I saw, it was like, oh, so maybe the Wolverine was another variant and that wasn't in the Fox universe either or something. So
sorry,
that was interesting.
Yeah, one thing that I did want to actually mention, since I heard you talking as I was walking away, is the Hulk. And people are saying it was the Edward Norton one. I think that's BS. That was, like, design wise, I think very clearly the just the regular Hulk of the MCU that we've seen. No,
I think that was the Hulk. Yeah, that was Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, because why wouldn't he? Like, the whole thing is he brought his friends in. I mean, he worked with Jennifer Garner on the Atom Project, the Netflix movie. He worked with I can't think of. Yeah, me too. Until I saw this, Mark Ruffalo was in that movie as well. The director directed him in that movie first, and then Free Guy, I think. So it's like the whole point is he's working with his friends, he's bringing them all in. Channing Tatum and him are, I think, buddies. Maybe not best of buddies, but I think they're buddies
kind
too.
of creating their own sort of universe more than ever, because like Free Guy also had Channing Tatum in it, and like those ones are starting to become super connected, and I think that's kind of also what happens with. Well, Brad Pitt was in the second one, and he like that kind of happened with Bullet Train, which I think was Channing Tatum in that one.
I actually
Aaron
still
Taylor
haven't
Johnson
seen.
Was.
What's her name? The woman Domino was. I can't. Zazie Bees. I can't. Zazie, I think, is her first name. I'm sorry if I'm completely off base, but she was in Bullet Train too. So yeah.
I feel like there's some like weird like friend, like, although actors are always like friends and like in each other's movies and stuff, I feel like it's like popping up now more than ever, where just like a random friend will show up in a movie, and it's just like, not necessarily, I don't know if it's meant to break the internet, but like obviously it's meant to get people talking, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but 9 times out of 10 I enjoy it, so I guess I can't be too mad at it.
Yeah, like I'm fine with it. Like whether or not it's break the internet or not, it just makes me happy. So fuck it, why not?
And that's exactly what Deadpool and Wolverine did.
Yeah,
I feel like one of those top things for me also was just sort of having, and like you're mentioning before, although Deadpool's suit was a little bit more red in this one, I feel like they kind of, I hate to say that they explained it, because he does get the suit while he's with the TVA. So it would explain why the suit is different, as opposed to just like a random sort of upgrade or change or whatever the case may be. And then obviously the Wolverine suit. Hands down, it's got to be one of the best things I've seen ever. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it probably has had me the most excited out of anything. Cowl or not. And although the cowl definitely helped and like raised the bar even further when I think that it wasn't almost possible, I think they did it. And did we mention this? But the eyes thing, like DC has no excuse now. Like they've done it with not just one character, but 2. And you're telling me that you still can't get it done? One funny character with a good amount of expression, and one fairly angry character, which I didn't feel like Wolverine's eyes moved very much, if at all, but it still worked. And it was like really, really good. So all that's off the table for DC, and they have no excuse now.
Yeah, no, they totally have no excuse. And for the next iteration of Batman, they have no excuse to like try to make the cowl, like have it be like some sort of immovable neck. Not that they did that with Pattinson, but I'm just saying, like, going forward, it can be done. You can have it seem like, you know, oh, it's down. It's something he can just pull on. We can suspend disbelief and do this. And yeah, I don't think his eyes move that much, but you didn't need to. And actually, did you see that like behind the scenes where it's him with the helmet hugging the director or something, and they have white eyes in it also? So there was some sort of practical thing about it too, because it looked like a behind the scenes, like them just hanging out quick moment. I doubt they would have CGI'd up the eyes for that.
I saw one where like they were talking and Deadpool had like the black part of the eyes off, so like Ryan Reynolds or whoever was in the suit could see. But I don't think I saw that that you're mentioning.
I'll try to find it for later, but But yeah, it's out there. So yeah, no, that was a huge thing. I didn't expect him to do that. I kept like I had heard months before them. Like I really stopped paying attention a month before. So, but like months ago, I heard, oh, he's going to wear the helmet the same way I heard, oh, Henry Cavill is going to be in it. I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So like that was like okay, yeah. It was so far out. It could have anything. Yeah. You could have said anything. You could have said they were going to have like, I mean, they said they were going to have James Marsden back in it, because you saw that. I'm pretty sure there was an X-Men, there was a Cyclops, and that was a miss. I mean, we can do a whole bunch of stuff they should have.
Speaking of which, I have something to talk about Cyclops towards in a little bit, but let's keep going. I have some Aaron news that has not broken on the internet yet.
So what was did we do your number 2 yet? I've already lost track. I apologize.
My number 2, I think I said was, I don't even know what I said anymore. See, this is why I write stuff down. I think 2 was cameos. I think. I think 1, and I'll include Calvary in that. Just cameos in general. I'll blanket statement it. I think that number 3. Honestly, I feel like just the randomness of a lot of things, which I think is just Deadpool at this point, was probably definitely a big thing for me. Like anytime Nice Pool would show up, or like he would have like a back and forth between him and kind of like hating him, even though it was kind of the same thing as Free Guy. Now that I think about it a little bit, it still worked, and it worked for the comedy. All of that was fine for me. I loved, sort of Wolverine's just sort of anger at Deadpool, giving him the tough talk, and then him basically saying he was going to kill him, and then them just like going at each other in the van for like however long that was. So I would just say like the randomness would be my number 3. But I feel like number 1's got to be just the Wolverine payoff for the most part, because there were still some issues that I took with Wolverine in terms of like his story as to what was his big secret that he was keeping in, and like the big weight that he was carrying about the other X-Men being killed while he was basically off getting drunk. Although I feel like that's obviously traumatizing, I don't feel like it's as traumatizing as he was making it seem. Like I would have much rather him actually had killed the X-Men and not known it, or just sort of been, mind warped or something into thinking it was something else. That happened in something else. What am I thinking of? I guess God of War.
I was thinking of Wolverine. I've never
I was
played
just thinking,
the game. So
I know that's happened sort of in the comics where like he's been manipulated to do those things. And I feel like that was the perfect opportunity to do it and be traumatizing. Like if it would have been that same moment from, I want to say it's X-Men The Last Stand, X3, whatever it was, when he was like stabbing Jean, as like that come to realization moment that he was the one that killed everybody, and like have people around him like Cyclops, who was like dead on the ground. Even if you had Marsden there for just like the death scene, that would have been like way more of a payoff to me than just sort of like I just wasn't there when they were all killed and I feel really bad about it. Like that it just didn't quite work for me. But the overall Wolverine, the suit thing having essentially paid off after 20 years of him not wearing that suit, I feel like was so big that was like the best thing for me, and overall for the movie, that I really liked. But obviously I liked way more than just that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I said with Steve, and that when you get to nitpicking, that's one of my big nitpicks. Like, just like he went off to get drunk. Like, first of all, I always thought he couldn't, like, kind of like Cap. I always thought he couldn't really get drunk. Like, he has to really, really work at it. So like the fact that, he's going off to a bar and seemingly doing this a lot is like, eventually he's, that's a lot of money. Just like to get you have to drink a bar to get drunk.
Money. He doesn't need it. About it.
I guess, but yeah, no, they could have done, like you said, they should have enemy of the stated. That's a bad sentence. They should have used the enemy of the state storyline where he gets brainwashed. Because they throw in that he knows about the Avengers and obviously the X-Men. So like just throw in Hydra, because I'm pretty sure it was Hydra who brainwashed him. Be like. Or make him say, basically, I told him to all fuck off and I'm not joining the little mission. I was too busy, worrying about myself, trying to piece my shit together to help them, and they all died because I wasn't there. Something versus
I mean,
I
even
was
if
at
they
the bar.
went as far as, I think it's in the animated series. I think it's like in season like 1 or 2. Like Logan basically goes off to like Alaska for like 4 or 5 episodes. Like even if you just would have gone on his own personal journey during that time, not just been like, oh yeah, I went and got drunk, then I feel like it would have been like, okay, at least you can kind of justify or at least say he was on a mission and doing something important at the time. So it just was a conflict. But it just sort of seems like a deadbeat dad missed the performance type of thing, that it just was like, oh, well, I guess that could have been, makes sense, but we would have rather something cooler.
Yeah, I agree. And then I guess just the number one thing, I didn't know I needed a send off to the Fox universe, but after seeing what they did with this, because like, I mean, I kissed the Fantastic Four goodbye after Silver Surfer. I never watched the Michael B. Jordan one, and all those, and like the X-Men too. Like after Dark Phoenix, I was just like, okay, let it die. But yeah, like seeing, because that's what this was to me. Like it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't his introduction to the MCU because he didn't meet anybody from the MCU really. It was just the end of the Fox universe.
I guess that's the future.
Well, yeah, Thor in the future. Yep. And I really do like that Chris Hemsworth is playing into it now too. Yeah. Like saying he knows why Thor was crying too, but he can keep a secret and all that. So, yeah, the fact that it was a really good send off for the Fox universe that I didn't know I wanted or needed. I think that was that. Yeah.
Yeah, I got emotional at a point where I was like, okay, what? I did not expect this to be like. At first, it was like funny, like, oh, haha, the Fox universe stuff, and then I was like, oh man, like the Fox universe is gone, and I felt like it was like this somehow it was a nice close to the Fox universe, I suppose, and like nice little love letter to it at the same time that sort of just been like, okay, that's done now. We can kind of like still enjoy this other stuff, and definitely not a moment that I thought what I would ever see coming was being emotional about it, considering some of the hell that they put us through over the past 20 years, or however long it's been. But yeah, that was a little bit interesting. Although I did think that, I guess that wasn't Fox's, was it? Was Blade Fox's? Because they didn't show behind the scenes to some stuff.
Yeah.
Like I felt like they showed like some of the first X-Men, the First Class stuff. Like I felt like they didn't show behind the scenes to some stuff. Do you think that was a studio thing?
Maybe. I'm on IMDb right now to see who was involved in it.
I mean, maybe not that I know. Well, actually, they might have shown the Steven Dorff guy in the montage. I don't remember.
I don't really remember seeing anything from Blade. I think it was really just like X-Men stuff, a little bit of Fantastic Four, both versions.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But
it doesn't matter as I continue to look and scroll.
Yeah, I hear you clicking the keyboard.
It doesn't matter at all. I'm just trying to find out. But anyway. But yes, I just really quickly, just the fact that Blade showed up and he said some motherfuckers are still trying to ice skate uphill, I feel like that may make my top 3. Just from like the appearance and that one line, I can just die happy because that is his best line in the Blade movie.
Yeah.
But so that fantastic movie. I would give it easily. I said like a 9 out of 10, which in us is like a 4.5 out of 5. So yeah. That's my ballpark there.
Yeah, same. That's what I went 4 out of 5. So
okay,
very happy with it. I'm honestly debating seeing it for a third time just because what the hell, why not? And I'll probably honestly I bought the Ghostbusters movies and I bought Top Gun Maverick. So like I buy on digital the odd movie here and there lately, but I think I would honestly buy this. I don't know why. Just like I feel like I want to. In case, like, not that they can ever fall apart now because Fox is gone and Disney owns it all. But in case Disney, for some reason, is like, we're going to hide this for a couple years, I want to just have it like secured someplace where I can go back to it. So I might buy it when the time comes.
Yeah, there's some that you just have to own to a degree.
Yeah.
So I definitely agree. That one would definitely be a pickup for me. So that was good stuff. But I think that since Steve's not here, I know we're running late. Are you good on time? Or are you need to go?
Yeah, we can start to wrap up. What's your
I need
big,
to honor Steve because
yeah.
I'm
excited. I know what it is.
As I drop it, 1 second.
Don't drop it. Be nice to it.
Sorry.
Love it.
I'm trying to. Gently. I'm trying to piecemeal it back together here so that it looks like it's as in the box and nice as it. So thanks to Steve and a lot of people, I've now joined the group and become a toy guy. No, I wouldn't say a toy guy because I'm very novice into a lot of it. But my first and only pickup so far, I hate to say I'm a toy guy though. It's still so early
I
in the
feel
process.
the same way when I say it. So you're a toy guy the same way I'm a toy guy. It's all good.
I've been doing a lot. It's been a lot more in my Google search history than intended. Maybe that's what I should phrase it as. I don't know if that's the best way to phrase it. But, sorry. So I actually ended up picking up a Cyclops from 97. And I have already opened it because I'm not that guy who keeps things in the box. I just keep in, so it keeps all my stuff together right now. So it's kind of together, but I took him out. But so I've been enjoying this. Well, focus, guy, focus. Do I got to do the thing where you put your hand up? There we go.
Yep, because there you go.
All right, so we got the X-Men 97 Cyclops. I'm sorry, my camera positioning is horrible. But I absolutely love it. Just the articulation and everything is fantastic. And I am going to try and do some poses with it at some point. I don't know if toy photography is my forte, but it is definitely potentially on the horizon. So I've been enjoying that. But I did also... I forgot. I had it pulled up and then I closed it because I started looking at other stuff. I'm going to switch screens here. But, why is that not working? Hold on 1 second. Why is that not working? Well, maybe I guess I won't show it then. I was going to show, I actually did pre-order some other stuff.
Oh, look at you go.
I know, and I'm on the verge of pre-ordering something else, but we'll talk about that in a second. How come it's not showing my screen? Are you looking at just a blank screen right now?
Right now I have like I guess it's your background. You're on one corner and I see like an orange.
Oh, there we go. Now it's showing.
Some sort of orange screen.
Okay. So now we should have it. Now you should see a Deadpool on your screen. So I did actually pre-order this
I see. Yep.
figure from Deadpool and Wolverine. So I was just feeling the moment, and this was a toy pickup, and then the Cyclops, I was just like, I've had that actually in my cart for a long time on Amazon because you can't get them anywhere. But that's been a pickup for a while, and it finally came through, so that was good. I'm actually going to get rid of that. So this Deadpool, unfortunately, is sold out, but it was available for pre-order. I think you can still get it on like a couple of the websites, but how they do that math, I don't know. But I'm excited to get that. And then I also pre-ordered the Wolverine because I was so excited about the suit and this guy. So this is going to be... Can you blow these up? Oh, I guess you can. So that's exciting. So I'm making my jump into the toy world in a very unexpected way for myself. I picked something up and I pre-ordered stuff all in the same week. So that was exciting. Now,
Archer's applauding right now.
I know the toy people are excited in the chat that Aaron's joining. Said no one ever. They're like, yeah, another guy fiending competition to try and get a figure I've been after for forever. That's great. That's exactly what I needed. But don't worry. All the toy hunters have already picked most of my stores clean, so you don't have to worry about that. I was checking before I was an unofficial toy guy. But this one is definitely exciting. The only thing that I don't know why, but I feel like they're probably going to come out with a variation at some point, would be a sleeveless one. Like, I love it with the sleeves, but I also kind of want it without. So I'm kind of like 50-50 on it.
Yeah,
I still love
I
it.
thought sleeveless would have been a no-brainer, but
You would have thought so, and they did have, or somebody had the other one, I want to say it's the Legends one, not Legends. It's like the comic version that comes with sleeveless. I think it's a little bit more along the lines of like the 97 and all that stuff in the comic accurate, but. Yeah, I did also pre-order those, so those will be on the way. So once those do come, which I think they're meant to be for like ship in December or something like that.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, basically. I don't
You
remember.
better be careful that your son doesn't get the mail.
Ship on December 1st. So yeah, it'll be interesting when they actually show up. But he's gonna have like his birthday and Christmas back to back anyway, so he's gonna be so distracted with other stuff. It's not even funny. So those will be coming in the mail. So once I get those, I will make an unboxing video for part of the channel, and I'll do a couple of things with them or try and be a part of the conversation in the toy chat. So I feel like I'm one of the guys now. I don't necessarily know as much, but I do know some of what's going on. And then these guys kind of have me intrigued. I'm not gonna lie. Oh boy, here we go. Pause one more time. I apologize.
All good. Well, yeah. So Aaron's getting
I'm gonna
those
switch you guys
toys.
back. You guys can look at toys. You're fine.
Yeah, look at toys for a minute. While Aaron's getting those on the pre-order and whatnot, I have there's a new video up on the channel. I fulfilled some nerd nostalgia needs, and because I recently was returned my Kenner Firehouse from back in the day, I didn't have the figures anymore. Those are all long gone. So I got the real Ghostbusters, the main four guys, as well as a brand new Ecto-1 from the cartoon series, and I'm looking at both of them right now, the Firehouse and the Ecto-1. Really happy with it, and I think I said it in the video. It's just amazing that stuff like this is out now, and like we can have our nostalgia in case, like, played with it to death, like I did in some cases, or you lost stuff in a move when you were a child, or much worse scenarios, fires or whatever horrible stuff makes you lose your toys. But yeah, this really is a great time, and I keep wanting to order. Like, I need Steve to sign off on a Batman from the animated series so I can get that and really be done. Because every time I'm like, oh, how about this one? He was cell shading. And I'm like, what the fuck is cell shading? And I'm like, okay, he basically said no, so I put it down and I walk away. And then he's like, well, I guess it's okay-ish. I'm like, I already left the fucking store, dude.
No, for sure. Sorry, I was listening in. And I'm kind of in that boat of the toy world right now where there's some things where I see, but I want really badly, like a Batman the Animated Series, but there's the cell shading issue. Or, and I've noticed this a lot, especially with the DC figures. And I guess when it comes to the McFarlane figures, I'm learning more. They just have a bunch of like shit variations, like nothing that I would be like, okay, I want to pay money for this. The only thing that has had me interested has been kind of around either Marvel or Hasbro stuff as of late. Everything else just kind of doesn't seem to be doing it for me. I'm not saying that there's terrible figures. Maybe I'm just either missed the boat or they're just not making the stuff that I'm necessarily wanting yet. But it could be on the horizon at any time. Like, I feel like the Batman the Animated Series one, 100% on the boat, in the same boat there with you. Like, the Batmans just either don't do it for me or they're just not what I'm looking for. I don't know. It's really weird.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It's the same thing, because like some of them I've seen, even like maybe it was McFarlane. I don't know. There's one I've seen where it was just like his chest was huge, like he was super wide, and I'm like, that's not how he was drawn. So like, why are you making the toy like this?
Oh,
so,
I think you're talking about the one that's got like the backdrop, right?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. That's not McFarlane. I don't know who made that.
I don't know, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
He had it in his video actually today, which you guys should check out. This one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's got the little backdrop and the. It looks really weird for some reason.
Yes, that's the one. Like, he's so wide, and he never looked like that in the show. So I don't know what they. Oh, it is McFarlane. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just going by saying shop all McFarlane at the top.
I believe you. It seems like he does most of the DC stuff, but honestly, nothing's really getting me excited. But it seems like they're also coming out with a lot of waves of things. So it's just got to be like one of those be patient situations as a new toy collector, which is hard. But again, I guess I'm not really collecting them, like in terms of like I need to have every one. Or I'm just more like, these are the ones that I like, and I'm not a big in the box person if I want to do something with them for whatever reason. So, but the reason I brought this up also was they have these new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse figures, which I'm not really tempted on any of them, except for potentially this Spider-Man. And it has really nothing to do with... I don't really like this version of the Spider-Man per se, but like I feel like it could look pretty cool if you just left the regular Spider-Man mask on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I'm not completely sold on it, but I'm like, should I or shouldn't I? I'm a little bit iffy about it. And then all the pictures are, of course, with the... But I feel like this is kind of like that quintessential Spider-Man. Like it fits very well into anything. So if you miss the boat either on like the Amazing Spider-Man, or not the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Animated Series figures like I did. I know you have a couple, I think. This would be a sufficient potential replacement for now without like breaking the bank to get those figures that they don't have easily available anymore. So I'm contemplating that one. Miles, I'm not so sold on. Potential, but not. I don't know. It looks kind of weird, like these shoulder pad things. Did he have those in the movie? I don't remember.
I only
and he also looks very sad. If you ever want to do toy photography with him, he looks very like he's been through some stuff.
They look like they just killed his puppy. Jeez, there's a sadness in those eyes.
For sure. But this one had me kind of interested, because I do like the Spider-Punk, and I feel like it's a little bit different. I just don't like how it's all purple. Like if they would have had like the color to it, it would have been cool. But I just don't like the all purple for some reason. Was he that purple in the movie? I don't remember. He was very glitchy, wasn't he? Or like not glitchy, but stylized.
Again, I only saw it once, but I definitely don't remember him being all purple at all. So
yeah, so that's a big drawback for me on that one. And they just made a lot of weird choices. Like this Miles Prowler version looks kind of cool, but I'm not overly in love with that version of the character. So there's that. The Miguel one, the Spider-Man 2099, is everybody complained about him being super white, which he definitely is. But again, that's not a like need to have person for me, or like was so in love with that version of the character. The one that I think is actually kind of cool is this one, from like a cool different Spider-Man look. I don't know. Contemplating. This one's very like saturated also. Hopefully that's not just the picture, but.
Oh yeah. Yeah, why is his face that color?
Like I don't know if they're just really bad with like character pigmentation or what, but they're like not that great.
Yeah,
and like this Gwen has a very weird alternate head because her hair was never that color in the movie, right? She had the blonde with maybe a little bit, but what's all this going on here? I don't know. Oh, I guess my head is also in the way. I didn't realize that. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
But the Spider-Man is the only one that's got me kind of thinking about it, but I'm not noticing how they're not like sold out immediately like all the Deadpool and Wolverine ones. Kind of has me sitting on them for a little while. So to be determined in the future, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But yeah, I just needed to get the toy thing off my chest.
Well,
I feel like that's been sitting there, and I've been wanting to join to talk about it, and the boss isn't here and I get to run the show, so I get to do
Exactly.
it. I was gonna say it's my show, but it's technically not. So
I mean, it's our show, I guess, at best.
yeah, suppose.
Steve's going to change all the passwords after this.
Definitely. After the screw up with trying to even get started, and then
Again,
all the other stuff.
It wasn't a screw up. The technical difficulties are part of the show.
Yeah,
you haven't done this in a while, and if I
what's
did
funny
it,
is that for the people at home, what's funny is like at 8:15, I literally told Anthony, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and start now to show up Steve that we can be on time, and then immediately we had technical difficulties and we didn't go live on time. So even I couldn't even like, show him up. So whatever.
It all worked out in the end, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah. Anything else before we call it a show?
I'm tempted to talk about Batman the Cape Crusader, but I don't want to keep everybody on for longer if not necessary. So,
that just means you have to make a video about it on your own and put it out.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Yeah, I guess I'll have to do something because you guys already talked about it somewhat last week, I think. Or maybe I'll have to join next week. Who knows what's going to happen? We don't really know.
One of those. We don't know. But, well, that's a lie. We do know next week there won't be Nerdy Coffee because that's paused. But we do know next week there will be HeyArcher Live, 8:15-ish Thursday night. Probably a different guy sitting on your screen, but maybe the same disembodied voice. Maybe Archer, I also called you Archer. Maybe I can't keep
We're just going to name off the whole roster and somebody's going to show up. That's all we know.
Somebody will be here with Steve, maybe, or it'll just be Steve. It'll probably be Aaron, and you guys can spoil Cape Crusader because we kind of kept it spoiler free, so you can go into
for
that.
the most part. I mean, it's been about the time frame, right? It's been out for like close to 2 weeks now. It came out right around the same time as Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, so it's definitely time to talk about it. Yeah.
And then by that time, you should be able to, you, particular the group, should also be able to be done with it because I think you said you're on episode 7.
I actually powered through the rest of it today, so I am done.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right. Well, I guess spoiler talk in the chat later. So, well, I guess with the exception of Sal.
I think Sal's behind, so yeah. Steve's going on honeymoon. Sal's raising children. You're raising a child, and I'm just sitting here like, cartoons, guys. Let's talk cartoons, and you're like, we have lives.
No, but I powered through Cape Crusader also because it was just that good. So, but
it really was
to be continued on that.
Indeed. So everybody in the chat, thanks for sticking with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Aaron, thank you for doing this with me, so everybody didn't just have to stare at my logo for an hour. And tune in next week. The boss will be back. Week after that, maybe Nerdy Coffee will be back. And the summer's almost over. We're going to get right into the fall and see what else comes out in the theaters and whatnot.
Maybe the next thing I'm excited for is Transformers. I don't think there's anything on the docket until then.
I didn't even know there was a Transformers coming out, so...
A lot of people don't, so...
Yeah. I was going to say maybe that Christmas Star Wars movie will surprise me, but... Anyway, we'll figure it out.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Been a pleasure.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you guys in the next video.
Peace.